I've been asked by a lot of people to do like a what's in my bag thing, because apparently things change over the years, and I'm gonna just show you what I'm rocking with in 2018. So here's the bag. It's an REI Trail 25, that is TRAIL. 25 is in 25 liter. I'm not sponsored by REI or anything. This is just a bag that I found that worked really well for me. It's pretty small. It's got a lot of pocket seats. They're super stretchy. I keep like my stick cam and stuff on the side. Yeah, I'll just kind of go through everything that's in the bag and you can judge it however you will, but I'm sure some of you will kind of like this setup because it is light and small and very easy to hike with, which is my main priority, something that I want to be able to take with me wherever I go and not have it be cumbersome, and also have a lot of extra room inside of it, because I don't really care as long as it fits everything I need for flying mini quads. Then I'm good to go. This is the front side of it. You got straps, you got a little bit of cushion here, you know, nothing special. It does have a little pouch on the bottom that has a headlamp in it for me, and also a rain pouch, or rain fly, or whatever you want to call it. Goes over the top of your bag, keeps everything dry if it does rain. And it's made of a pretty nice nylon. So I guess we'll start taking things out. So on the side here, this is typically what I'll keep in these side pouches. I have a GoPro 6 with a chest cam, you know, whatever. It's like a backup GoPro 6. People have asked recently, like, what am I using for like cameras as far as like on the drone stuff, and like if I'm doing hardcore acro, then I'll use like really hard stuff where there's a pretty good chance I'm gonna crash if I keep flying that hard. Then I'll use a Session just because it's lighter and, you know, it handles damage a little bit better, and honestly the Session does a great job for like acrobatic flying. But if I'm doing anything like cinematic, or I'm not gonna be doing crazy flips and rolls and I want the footage to be really good, then I use a GoPro Hero 6. So to kind of dampen that argument, I do use both cameras, mainly the Session if I'm flying acro, and mainly the 6 if I really want good quality footage out of my flying. So yeah, that's about it as far as on the outside of the bag, other than these things, which you might know as drones. These are my 2 quads. I usually bring 2 with me. Sometimes I'll bring 3, but it's rare. And I'll just kind of, these are identical, so I'll just kind of go over what this one is. Nothing new really. I have the Mr. Steele Alien 5-inch with the 5-inch body, 5-inch arms. It has the Mr. Steele PDB, which is basically an OSD slash throughput for the KISS flight controller. And yes, the KISS V2 does work with it, and that is what I'm running right now. So the KISS version 2 flight controller, and also the KISS 32 amp ESCs. Now, I was a little skeptical when this stuff came out as far as like the prototype version. I had the prototype version here, and I was flying it back to back with the KISS V1, and I talked to Felix. I'm like, look, I don't really feel a difference when it was in prototype phase. I'm like, I don't really feel a difference. And he's like, well, you know, that's kind of expected because I'm not really doing anything right now that's gonna make it feel different. Like, it's basically a more stable version of the V1, and they built the V1 up so much and kind of reached its max capacity as far as what that flight controller was able to do hardware wise, and then obviously just took that platform, which is a huge growth curve, and put it at the very bottom of the V2. So he started basically at the top of the V1, was the very bottom of the V2 because it's an F7 board. And yeah, now it is extremely substantially different with D-Shot 2400, and that's kind of what I switched to. All of my stuff is running KISS 32 amps. Yeah, nothing really new on the aircraft itself other than the V2 KISS flight controller and the 32 amp ESCs, my PDB, the 5-inch Alien frame, which is, you know, black hardware. It's got steel hardware going into the actual lock nuts, press nuts, so that's a little stronger. And then I'm also running Crossfire, and a lot of people have asked, well, why aren't you running Crossfire in some of the other videos? Those videos are a little bit older. I switched to Crossfire about 2 months ago and haven't had anything wrong, like no issues whatsoever, which is really cool because that was a problem for me in the beginning with Crossfire. I had a little bit of a faulty module, you could say, and some fail safes on 2 watts. Also had a broken antenna at one point, which was not helping my range situation. I'm running a Triumph, which a lot of people already know from based on my parts description, which is in the link or in the description below. All of my parts are listed. Then I'm running a Unify 5-volt video transmitter. I'm running a Runcam Swift 2 camera and a GoPro Hero 5 Session, which now they've reduced the price to $200, so they're a lot more affordable. I don't know what's going on with GoPro. And then HQ 54.3x3 V1S PC prop, which has been my go-to prop for a long time. Everyone's trying all these new different pitched props, but as far as efficiency and performance, I think the 4.3 is my favorite, and I'm gonna stick to that. Now I am running my V2 motors on here, which I have a video about that if you're curious about the V2s. It's a couple videos back, and I'll also put it in the description below. So let's get off of the actual aircraft and get into the bag, because I know a lot of people actually want to see what is inside this little tiny bag that has so much substance, you know. Here, let me just show you the main guts inside. So the bag kind of opens like this. It's not anything special. Like I said, it's a hiking bag. It's not designed for FPV, so I had to specifically put things in here a certain way to make them work. So this is my radio bag. There will be a bag coming out like this. This actually is discontinued from REI. As you can see, it's an REI product. I've had it for 4 years now, or 3.5 years, and it holds my radio. I'm making a bag like this. Or Snake and a couple people in ethics are making a bag like this, so look no further, there will be a bag at one point. Now inside here I have my Taranis, which is the Mr. Steele edition Taranis with the Hall sensor gimbals and whatnot. I did a video on this as well, so if you're curious about this particular radio, then you can go check out that video, which will be in the description below as well. And I am running Crossfire on the back. On the top of this bag right here, there's a little pouch, and I'm running this Diamond whatever the VAS Diamond antenna, which is a really good antenna. I haven't had any problems with it. I know a lot of people were saying that some people were getting, you know, I don't honestly know what the complaints were, but I haven't had any issues with it. It's actually improved my range over the, I also keep a 2.4 antenna and a Immortal T, just in case something happens to this. I like to have extra antennas with me, and they're not really that pain of a butt to carry. So that is my antenna. Sorry, my antenna and my radio. And then I also have my neck strap, which is a combination of a bunch of neck straps. It's a Sweep Wings neck strap with a Sweep Wings pad on the back, but the pad is from a different neck strap. And then I have the clip from a flight test strap. It's kind of a combination of all the straps. And then I have this, which I got from my buddy Eric in France, which is actually the last compressor stage. What is it? The last compressor stage of the turbine engine off of a 747. One of the fans, and it's made of titanium. Really cool. It's got my name engraved on it. Thank you, Eric. And then I have these, which were made by a buddy of mine, Mr. Robot. They are 3D printed, and they go on top of the gimbals. Really cool stuff. I've had these for over 2 years now, so sorry if I don't know where to get them. Next, we have my goggles, which are in the typical goggle bag with the little fluffy right here. I have no idea why that's there. Just put that there for some reason. So these are Dominator Hd V2s. Again, I haven't changed. This is my favorite goggle so far to date. The reasoning is because it's got the biggest field of view, and also it's Hello Kitty, and I don't want to put the case on anything else. So, you know, I got these as a joke about 2 years ago from Fatshark, and I have loved them ever since. They are Dominator Hd V2s again, and they're Hello Kitty edition, which is just hydro dipped Hello Kitty, and they're all faded out. I love it. It's like antique white. As far as the receivers going, right now I'm running a V3 LaForge module, and it has diversity as well, which they have these nice little caps now, but I have some things coming to me for testing, so I may be changing receiver modules soon. I don't know, but as of right now, I've been running the LaForge V3, and I have had not one issue with it at all, so love it. And then this is a new antenna from VAS, which is, it's not new, it's actually an ion, but it's extended a little bit, so it kind of sits above your head a little higher, so you can get better range, because obviously your head is full of water. Well, a lot of people's watermelon heads are full of water, but your head is a lot of water, and 5.8 and water do not get along very well. So the penetration of the RF trying to be received from a quad behind your head is not as good as if it were a little bit above your head. I'm still running the immersion like 8 dBi patch on the diversity side. The reasoning is you have two different antennas on the receiver. You have a high gain and a low gain, omnidirectional. So the high gain is a patch antenna which basically focuses a beam of reception in a pie chart, basically straight out. So I want to see really good or really well that way. You have your patch, you shoot it out that way. That's what I use this for. If I want to go a very far distance or farther, or I want to penetrate through a particular object, I will point the patch at that particular object and fly it. If I want to just fly around and have fun, kind of keep close proximity to myself, maybe within 150 to 200 yards, then I'm gonna rely on the omnidirectional. And honestly, these omnis are so good these days that I rarely hear it switch over to the patch. So Omni, really good, the Ion. And then people ask about this all the time. This is a custom earbud made by Konasty FPV that he made for me a long time ago out of a Beats headphone. It's a unit monopod, whatever. It's like cut down from a dual system into one. He merged two channels together, which is originally what I did when I made my first earphone. You merge left and right channels together, so it doesn't matter. Some radio transmitters run on left and some run on right, so it can be kind of a pain in the butt. It just depends if you run them both together as far as left and right channels, so you have both left and right signal going to one radio or one speaker, you're not going to have any issues. So that's kind of one of the tricks to making these things, and there are a lot of people that make them, but I can't recommend any of them because I haven't seen them or tried them, and this is very particular. I've been working on an earbud for a long time now, over 8 months. I've been working on an earbud with TBS. The reasoning is it's very difficult to specifically get the right frequency that you need to be able to hear what the quad is doing and also be able to hear what is going on around the quad. And it's difficult to explain, but just know that I'm working very hard to try to get that to be a reality and something that can be mass produced so that it doesn't have to be custom made out of an old Beats headphone from 3 years ago or whatever. And then the one last thing that is on here is the Fatshark 2000 milliamp little Thunder Power 2000 milliamp Fatshark battery, which has got obviously a a barrel connector, little 2S balance lead so that you can power your fan on top, and it also has an XT60 on the side so you can charge with your typical balance boards. If you don't have a little barrel connector to charge your stuff. Now, this is my patented plastic bag situation. This is really cool. I love this setup. It's very flat. It keeps all my propellers. I used to run like props when I was running bi-blades, like OG days. It was a little easier to transport props since the tri-blades have been the standard ever since I started using tri-blades. At Drone Nationals 2015, it's the first time I used tri-blades. It's a little harder to carry them because they have to take up a little bit more space. So what I usually do is I'll take left hand or clockwise and counterclockwise props and I'll put them into individual bags. So I have, obviously this is one and this is the other, my paint bag, and I've had these bags forever. They're like held together with tape. I love them. This is my clockwise props and these are my counterclockwise props. So when you crash, you always usually hit one prop and you're like, oh man, it doesn't work. Like, I've only broken the one prop, now I have to open a bag, and I take one prop out, and then I have 3 props that I don't know what they are, and then you eventually end up with a bunch of left-hand props, and you don't have very many right-hand props. So what I do is I just order props, or Zong sends me props, and I will take out the right hands and the left hands, and then maybe you used more left hands that day, maybe you used more right hands, or clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. You can refill accordingly based on what you used. And then I just put the crashed props in the bag as well. Don't leave your props at the flying spot. It's littering, and I don't condone littering. Again, plastic bags, super to rip or not to rip. Pretty fun. And this is gonna be a long video, sorry. This is my battery bag as of right now, and it is literally just a lunchbox from REI as well. You open this little nugget up, and inside you see a mob of Thunder Power batteries. So actually, here is a very serious and yet funny Brick Series Mr. Steele battery, which is essentially a 1300 adrenaline pack, these 100C packs by Thunder Power. And yeah, these have been really good batteries. They actually changed recently. You see how this one's kind of cracky? Basically, when they get cold, and all batteries typically do this, when you get cold and this plastic covering on the outside is cold, you hit something, it just cracks and explodes. So they've changed to this new, a little bit thicker, a little bit more translucent material. Like, it's not as transparent as it was. Here's a transparent one, and here's the translucent one. Obviously their print is a little different too. It's a little darker on the newer ones, but I don't know, it's not as susceptible to just exploding in cold weather, which has always been a gripe of mine. The plastics and usually anything due to mini quads and crashing in the cold is way worse. Like when the props get cold, they just break. Where like in the summertime, I can fly hours and hours and hours on one set of props crashing multiple times because they just bend and you bend them back. Where in the winter, you touch a little tree and it goes and like snaps off a tip of the prop. So not cool. And I'll typically bring with me I don't know, 8 to 20 batteries depending on the day. And I also have these little caps, which are little like silicone caps that go on the ends of pipes. Again, I don't know where you get these. I got them from Get FPV back in the day. I just had Andy send me a bunch of them because I liked them. And that's what I use to signify my charged batteries versus my discharged batteries. They're charged if they have a little thing, and they're discharged, the thing comes off and they don't have the little thing. So yeah, that is it. I keep these little battery checkers in here, which again are super simple, but I always have 2 of those. And the reasoning I have 2 of those is because when I check batteries, if I want to check a battery before I put it on the charger, they take a second. Like when you plug it in, it takes a second for it to actually read. You plug it in and then it's like, duh, and then it tells you 16.7. So I plug in one, set it down, plug in another, and as I'm picking up the other one that I first set down, it actually says, oh, 16.7. So it's kind of like a time-saving thing that I've just come to do over the years of trying to shave time and get back outside and fly, or, you know, not sit and man the charger all day. So that's pretty much as far as like the electronics inside my bag. Now I do have a couple little things in here, like my 2 toolkits. And again, this is stuff that I've had for years and it's been working for me. It's super bare essentials. I have this one toolkit right here, which has a 1.5 to a 3mm hex key. I have an open-ended 8mm wrench, a closed-ended 8mm wrench, and a ratcheting 8mm wrench. The ratcheting 8mm wrench is for props, and that is a set of Diamond tools, which is not made anymore. It's actually a Horizon Hobby product. Here is another set, or Dynamite, sorry. Dynamite. Maybe it's Dynamiter.com, Dynamite RC, I don't know. Honestly, I got these from Atlanta Hobby when I used to work there. I have no idea. Inside, I've kind of consolidated all of my stuff. I have 5mm, 5.5mm, 8mm. These are all they're little sockets that go into this particular tool, which is like a Phillips head attachment. Then I have files in case I need to file something in the field. I have Phillips heads and 1 Allen key in case for some reason that box got taken at the airport. I always have redundant stuff. Not always have it redundant, but I do typically have one at least tool that I know that if it gets taken, I'll have a second one, like a prop tool. I always have a second prop tool. Always have a second 2.5 and 2mm Allen head, because that is the main sizes that need to take apart my aircraft. Then I have a pair of snippers, dikes, whatever the heck you want to call them. So let's take this stuff out so we know that we've already gone through it. And then a couple little things here, and then we'll be done. This is my little parts bag. I keep tape, I keep extra prop nuts, I keep extra lenses, like GoPro lenses that for the FPV camera. I keep extra XT60s. I also keep a TS100, which is like the best soldering iron on the planet. It runs on 4S and is super tiny. There is a soldering iron, a tip, and solder wick, and a USB port that runs off an XT60 in there. Or not USB port, a barrel connector that has a barrel connector that has an XT60 on the back of it that plugs into your typical 4S batteries that you get to fly your drone. That charges or doesn't charge, it powers the soldering iron. I don't know, it's sick. Heats up to like 300C within, I don't know, I think it's 5 seconds or maybe 10 at most, but it's crazy. So again, just extra spares. I keep extra video transmitters, zip ties, just, you know, miscellaneous stuff, antennas, extra receiver in case, extra hardware, just, you know, miscellaneous stuff in case something were to go awry in the field. And last, I guess not last, I have one little extra pocket after this, but in this pocket, which is right underneath the top, I keep extra straps. I have this little package right here which has those little lens protectors for the GoPro session. Again, I made that not crazy complicated, but I keep extra Gowie straps in here. I keep these whatever pyro straps, and I have some ethics straps that are on my drones. And then in the top pocket, I keep my extra session. I keep an extra Fatshark battery. I keep an extra GoPro battery. And I do usually keep this extra prop tool in there, which is this DYS thing. I don't know, it was given to me. It's better than nothing. And yeah, I also keep earplugs in there in case I'm sleeping somewhere and I can't freaking go to sleep. And a couple SMA connectors as well. Sometimes you need RPSMA or SMA. I have 45 degrees. I have 90 degree connectors. These are all 45s actually. And a pen in case I need to write something. And chapstick, you know, can't ever go without chapstick. And then one last little secret pocket right here. I keep a USB port for plugging into the freaking USB if you need to change anything, God forbid, on your computer, maybe PID, something like that, even though you can do it in the OSD. I have this right here, which is actually a lightning cable to USB, which I have a little connector that plugs to LiPos to charge my phone in case I run out of like battery bank. And then I have one extra cable, which is a USB-C cable, and that is for charging GoPros. And I have a tile in there, but it's dead. I usually, oh wait. I'm gonna have to stop that. I don't, stop! Okay, but yeah, anyways, that is all of my gear. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and comment below, because you know that really tells YouTube that you like my stuff when you interact with it. So have a good day.